Good morning. We are here at Cuesta Community College in San Luis Obispo talking with Lisa Schicker, who is a biologist and also an instructor here at the college. Good morning, Lisa. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
So tell us your path and your story about becoming a biologist.
Well, I would have to say it started when I was very young, and I grew up in Ohio. I grew up on the shores of Lake Erie. It's one of the great lakes in the country, and it's a beautiful lake. But at that time, when I was growing up, it wasn't so great. I would walk along the shores and find piles of dead fish, and I was curious as to why all the fish died at the same time. And what I came to find out is that the fish were dying from pollution. And that was one of my first things that I remember about wanting to help the environment and help the plants and animals in the world, and that's how one of my first things of how I became interested in biology.
So that was a key moment for you to point you in that direction.
That's correct. And then the other factor that really influenced me is I had an excellent high school biology teacher. He was a lot of fun, and he created a lot of interest for his class.
Well, that brings up a good point in that if you find a good advisor or mentor, they can help get you pointed in the right direction once you find an interest.
That's right.
So what's the most memorable or your favorite moment being a biologist?
Well, for me, my favorite moments were being out in the field. And I was a field biologist for part of my life, and now I'm an instructor in biology. But being in the field with nature and plants and animals and wildlife was something that really interested me, and I felt wonderful being able to help the animals and plants of the earth.
And working in the field, what was your job then, and who did you work for?
Well, I've worked for private and public.
Mm-hmm.
I spent most of my career at the Department of Transportation in California, Caltrans. And you might not think that a biologist would be part of Caltrans, but there's a whole staff of environmental and biology people. And I would go out on jobs where we were going to build new highways or new bridges. And we had to study the plants and animals and streams and creeks and forests of the area to see if we could help preserve as much as possible and repair what we were going to damage.
And still be able to build the road.
And still be able to build the road at the same time, exactly.
Great. And what classes in high school and or college would I concentrate on to become a biologist?
For a biology major, you would want to study the sciences, math, chemistry, physics, and biology. You'd have to do a little of everything, but mostly the biology courses, but you'd have to have a little background in all of the others as well.
And are there manual skills that would be necessary or helpful to be a biologist?
Depending on what type of field you went into in biology. For field biology, you'd have to be able to, of course, hike and walk, but that's really it. Doesn't entail carrying heavy things necessarily, just a real love of the outdoors, willingness to get dirty and muddy and maybe a few bugs here and there, little poison ivy now and then.
And are there entry-level jobs that I might find that would help me see whether that's biology's for me?
Yes, a lot of nonprofits or natural history museums or state, county, or federal agencies all have internships and scientific aid jobs that are entry level. And so you could start out either on temporary or part-time basis or as a volunteer and get a feel for what would be part of that job.
That's great. And with training in biology, what are some of the things I might do in the future? Now, you've obviously turned yours into a teaching profession.
That's right. Yeah, there's many ways to go with biology. You could be in research, you could be in the field, you could be in medicine. You could be in communication, working for a magazine, working for a nonprofit. So there's lots of avenues to go for biologists these days.
Great. And in 2014, this year, is this a good time for somebody to start a career in biology?
In my opinion, never better. We need more biologists in the world for all of the above reasons, all the ways that they can help.
That's great. And to help make sure that Lake Erie stays clean.
Yes, that's right. Lake Erie's much cleaner now than when it was when I was a child.
Great. Well, yeah. Lisa, thank you for spending this time with us this morning. And before the bell rings, we'll let you go. Thanks again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.